I got a lot to say, people, and I've said a lot. To be honest with you, to be brutally honest with you, there's nothing more I can say at this moment in time. I think I've got it all out of my system in my group chats with my close friends and family, obviously on social media. We've had the banter, we've had the disappointment. I'm at that stage of acceptance. While I'm not at that stage of acceptance, is beyond the obvious. I can't change the result. We lost. Congratulations to Manchester City. Commiserations to everybody connected to Arsenal Football Club. The first thing I would say, if there's one thing that quite frankly pisses me off at this moment in time, yeah, and for what it's worth, at face value, I don't make these players or these individuals wrong. And what I mean exactly by that is when they're talking about like Rice, and I'm not getting at any players individually, but the manager, Declan Rice, several players have come out and talked about we have to use this as fuel, etc., etc. You're right. You've got no choice. Pain can make you and break you. You have to. It's pain that fuels us in life. And that's what makes. Well, we ain't got over the line, but when we get over the line in something, it will make it actually worth it. But we're past all of that. Not little kids. We've been hearing that in isolation. If I didn't know it was Manchester City at Wembley and I just saw the paragraphs, that could be applied so many times. Old habits die hard, and we all win, lose, and draw together. It's not an all manager thing. It's not an all the players thing. But old habits die hard, as I just said there. We see the same thing. We die on our sword unnecessarily, apart from what we want to see, which is we're going for it. And what I mean by that is whatever we've prepared for a week or two, we stick to the script. And as I said, Arteta, 90% of what we do, keyword 90, 100%, 90, yeah? So just bear in mind there's another 10% that we've got to discuss. 90% of what we've done has got us here. Are we at the level with PSG, Bayern Munich, this one, that one, City historically? Sure as hell we're not. But as a team, we've shown that we can compete. You see, to get over the line, it's now your ability to be proactive. I don't think Hincapié was bad, but he only really got tested. For example, when Semenyo's taking him on when he's on a yellow, bring him on at halftime. Calafiori, you've had a header that's gone wide. You've had a shot that's whistled just wide. Why is my left back the one with the chances? Kai Havertz. When I see Kepa's mistake and Kepa's mistake and Kai Havertz's mistake, I don't know about anyone else. To a degree, I can't get pissed off. How many times have you seen that from Kai? How much times have you seen the Kepa gaff? And if I'm completely honest with you, I think, multiple truths can be held in the same realm. I know that can't be done in this day and age of agenda field analysis where everything is one-man upsmanship. If I like this player, I have to slag off this. The reality is, in the whole totality of 90 minutes, Kepa weren't bad. Like, he weren't bad. Let's be real. He weren't bad. It was more the tactics. And if anything, Kepa's mistake, which again, mistake, we'll get onto that, has taken a lot of smoke, I believe, to a degree, away from our tactical approach and things like that. The reason, but on the obvious, as to why I didn't want Kepa to start is because Raya is a better ball-playing keeper. You saw that game. We were double fucked. Pep done us. Pep done us. First half, we started brilliantly. We had them camped in their own half, and I don't want any positives in it because there ain't no positives in the final. But our keyword first half, our shape was good. There was a willingness to defend. There was a willingness to want to suffer. Like, even the tie kind of turned towards the end of the first half. It's a 90-minute game against City. You're going to throw some bangs. You're going to have to bob and weave. We had that. Chances didn't go our way. It is what it is. But you see, when we've worked on something all week, you see when it's time to pivot away and deal with reality, something that we haven't accounted for. Remember, I said the 10%, because 90% of the planning City are going to do this, so we're going to do this, all that kind of field tilt stuff. It works, and I like it. It's got us here. But we all love football for moments that we all remember, right? Nobody knew, for example, Szoboszlai, that free kick against us and things of that ilk. Those illogical moments, those moments is what we don't have. And we've got players with the ability, but for one reason or another, they're not platformed. We don't pivot away from the from tactics. We don't really go for it. You can see again, and not, as I said, if you isolate these things, you can see the tide turning. I keep using Liverpool at Anfield as an example. Before they've got their first goal, we've started that second half fucking shit. You can see the tide is turning, people. Mistakes are all, it's always a good time to score, and it's always a bad time to make a mistake. That mistake it was going to come down to that. It was either going to be individual brilliance from either an Arsenal player, which didn't happen, but I hope so, or a City player. It's either going to be individual brilliance to break the deadlock and win the game, or it's going to be a mistake, which you saw. Kepa's made the mistake. Obviously, he's not alone. It starts and stops with Kepa. But if we go and watch that phase of play again, it's not good enough from several players. All right, Kepa's made the mistake. Again, the second half, the tide was turning. We were shit. I don't know, indifferent first half, different team coming out in the second. We've been accustomed to that, right? As I said, before the first goal went in, you could see the tide turning. We've conceded 2 goals in 4 to 6 minutes. I think they scored in the 60th minute and the 64th or the 66th. Forgive me if I'm wrong. what is going on there. My left back has had some chances. I can remember Kai Havertz's chance, Trafford. And many people look to Trafford and say he's City's second choice keeper. Yeah, he is. But he's better with his ball at his feet. So we were getting double whammied in that. They're letting us, like a couple of teams have done. Pep said, yo, let the centre halves have the ball. We'll nullify midfield. Sometimes it's either Zuba Mendinho or Zuba Midi. This is why you need another midfielder. Rice and Zubi, poor, even though I think Rice was one of the better players once again. They're nullified out the game. They're letting our centre halves have it. You're lumping it long. Obviously, we're not got enough players next to each other. So not only are City tactically outdoing us, we're outdoing ourselves. And then we're not pivoting away from it. And then I have to look at their players. Go out there and enjoy it, you know. I never saw people with enjoyment. I've been saying all week, it's a final. If we lose, we lose. But go out there and leave it all out there. Go out there and have no regrets. Go out there and enjoy it. Go out there and put yourself in Arsenal folklore. Some of you can go and claim your first bit of silverware. Who did? Because if you're completely honest with yourselves, yeah, it's not that Kepa was the best, but apart from the mistake, you done what you could in your limitations. Saliba, my heart bleeds for you. You were good again. Gabriel Magalhaes, not one of your best games. Again, head and shoulders above certain men. Ben White ain't played for a hot second, first significant minutes. You know, you held it up. And for the fact that you kicked Cherky, Hincapié, I don't think you were bad. Rice, you weren't amazing, but another one that you can look at. You know, fair play. Don't know what's going, you know, I do call for the Kai Havertz and the Gyökeres thing. It was a need must, but you're not playing to that partnership. Saka, don't know what's going on. Love you to bits. Always going to be my guy. It's on brand with your season. You've been shit. Noni came on and maybe not necessarily with the eye test, but the eye test, I felt he did better. Man, I try nutmegs. Noni, I can't get mad at these things. How can I get mad at Noni? How can I get mad at Kai? How can I get mad at Kepa? These guys are doing what they do. People are not going to be honest. Gyökeres was not bad. Is he a limited striker with evident limitations? Is he a striker that's going to make things happen himself? No. Both strikers were actually nullified. And we weren't getting people around him. Nonetheless, I think Gyökeres was decent. Trossard, it's been real. You've been, for the large part of this season, one of the first names on the team sheet for me. The whole attack needs replenishing. Berta, you need to take charge of any attacking recruitment. There's no more, unless it's some random Brazilian youths, respectfully to Noni, it's not even about Noni. There's no more going and shopping in Chelsea's clearance section. There's no more of them players that when they sign for this football club, we say, if Mikel, no, serious savages. And you players, you are going to have other opportunities to win silverware. There was no way you're going to win a quadruple, but it's on brand with you don't seize the present. Everyone's got the answers now, you know. Everyone's got the answers. I never saw a fearless approach from the gaffer. I never saw one of these players look to the left, look to the right, and say, do you know what? I'm putting this team on my back, because that's what people need. You know, every player should do that. And I'm very critical with the players. You got no God-given right to be in the final. Some of a career is very short, whether it's you're as young as Max Dowman, who's irrelevant, or you're as old as Norgard. A career is short. Before you know it, your career is done. And whether you've won stuff and achieved stuff at anywhere else, you haven't done it as a collective bunch of players. It's you lot are going to hurt way more than me. You're not, because I love this club. I'll die for this club and all these kind of things. But you lot are the ones that deal with all the crap that they say. You lot are the ones that see each other in training and when you're traveling up and down the country and all those things there more than your family. Remember, these lot are human beings. You lot are there meant to be brothers in arms when people are going through things in their personal lives. You lot meant to lift each other up. I meant to go out there like gladiators. You didn't. Nico O'Reilly did, because let's be honest, that game was on brand with probably what we expected. Both managers cancel each other out, chess match. There's a lack of shots on target. Nico O'Reilly is probably the only one, but that's what you do. He's gambled once and he's gambled twice. So credit to Manchester City. Even the dark arts from Bernardo Silva to not get a yellow card. The game is the game. I did like the showmanship from Cherky, you know, and I also like Ben White whacking him. City came to the party. We didn't, regardless of their injuries. Didn't test that defense. And I do think this does have, to a degree, naturally, it was going to have a bit of factors going into the league campaign. I think it was a one-off. City had psychological factors they need to discuss. You know, things have been going left for them as a football club. They've went out the champs. They need to get up for the final. We've crossed that territory and we've not been to finals, obviously, or won trophies. We've got to a final. We've still not got over the line and all of those kind of things. I think it's everything. I think the manager didn't pivot in the second half. I think players, you lot threw it away in the second half. I think I've become accustomed to, in many ways, it was like Man United recently at the Emirates, where you clearly worked on something. You started well. There's actually a degree of confidence that we can get a result. Football's a 90-minute game. Football's decided in both boxes. All of the cliches come to free. Why is my left back the one I can remember in the final third? Arteta, where's our overloads? Where's our asking of that defense? Arteta and the players, I don't doubt your integrity, but you can't have come to play. You can't tell me you care. And in for conclusion, I do not care about any fuel and all of that. We know that you need to do that. We're with you all the way. The time for talking's done. Now go and soak in this negative stench for about a week or two. You know what you need to do in the FA Cup. You know what you need to do in the Champions League. You know what you need to do in the Premier League. I think we have a good chance of all domestic silverware. Oh, and well, until prior to yesterday, we did have a good chance. We got to the final. I personally think Liverpool are winning the FA Cup, but that's meant to between us and Man United be our trophy. Go and get that. The Premier League is the one you need to get over the line. And there's going to be many twists and turns, swings and roundabouts. Gaffer. And one thing I will say as well, Mikel, you've got tools on the bench, use them. And I'm not accusing you of anything here, but this is just a wild take from me. When Eze's missed a chance against Liverpool or Martinelli misses tappings, you specifically name drop them. You don't for certain individuals. And at the end of the day, this was always going to happen if Arsenal didn't win the game when you've got Kepa in goal. Yeah. What do you owe Kepa? What do Arsenal owe him? Because now you've lost your Wembley record, which was going to be lost at some point, but we ain't been to a final in 6 years. Raya's your better goalkeeper. I hear what you're talking about. Kepa's got us here, and I do think blaming Kepa and that isolated incident, while it's prominent and it played a part in the game, is not looking at the other mitigating factors for 90 odd minutes. Why do you everyone talks about being ruthless and no time for sentiment? Why isn't it not forwarded to him? Why is Raya on the bench? Now, if we won, it would have been great, but you knew that was a thing. Now, I don't expect you to have regrets because you believed in Kepa, and I'm not making it about Kepa, but I mean, come on. And even that, to be honest with you, Mikel, you've got to find better balance of bending your tactics because you want to play, obviously, to a degree as a team, you've got to play the same way and have the same intangibles, but you're trying to make Kepa do Raya stuff, playing out from the back as much as Raya. You need to be having little tweaks and whatnot. You're trying to make Gyökeres, you're trying to make Kai Havertz do what Gyökeres could do in the box. You're trying to make Gyökeres do what Kai could do in terms of general play. But I can't be surprised because, again, win, lose or draw, even though I'm not trying to saying this all down the toilet, win, loss or drawn, what have we learned this season? What positives and negatives did you see against City that you haven't seen all season? So all we can do is move on. And I would say for the players, you lot are the ones out there. Nobody grabbed the game by the balls and probably the subs, if anything. You all look like you're looking at others for finding examples. And unfortunately, it's a familiar feeling for you lot. Coming up short. Fair enough, not being in the final and at Wembley, but coming up short, thinking about what ifs. All I said to these boys, in my preview, have no regrets. Losing, we can hold that. Have no regrets. If you lose to the better men, which you did, fair play. But don't sit here and lose to the better men, which you did, but this one could have done better. That one could have done better. This could have happened. That could have happened. The gaffer as well. Unfortunately, it is what it is. And now to hear Saliba, hope is precautionary, but Saliba's pulled out of the international duty and things like that. I've been saying I think the international break makes or breaks what's left of this season for not just Arsenal, but a number of clubs, owing to people are going to get injured. But it is what it is, isn't it? It is what it is. This trophy is not something Arsenal are used to winning. I'm 30 years of age. The last time we won in 1990, we won in 1993. Birmingham comes to mind. Yesterday is obviously fresh in the mind. The last final, not the one yesterday, but the last one against Manchester City comes to mind. I'm sure a couple against Chelsea. It is what it is, man. But you know what? In life, if we apply our stoic cap, you only learn in defeat. My thing is, life repeats the same lesson, and if you don't want to learn, it's gonna keep banging you over the head. So yeah, man, upset the fans, innit?